This is your reading assignment for today. We're reading the passage called Opening Day. You are so lucky, said Paul. I can't believe you got one of the special invitations to go to the grand opening of Disneyland. I only got a special invitation because my dad works at the studio, Greg explained. I'll ride all of the rides and tell you which one is best. Okay, said Paul. I'm going to watch the live television special. Maybe I will see you on TV. Have fun tomorrow. 2 days later, Paul stopped by Greg's house and attacked him with a string of questions. How was Disneyland? What was the best ride? What did you eat? Did you see Walt Disney himself? Greg groaned. Ugh, it was a nightmare. Paul's eyes grew wide. What? Why? First of all, we were stuck on the freeway for 2 hours before we even got to Disneyland. Once we finally arrived, we discovered that the park was packed with people. Someone told my dad that only 11,000 special invitations were issued, but 28,000 people got into the park. Can you believe that some crooks made counterfeit tickets to get into the park, even though they weren't invited? Needless to say, they ran out of food before we even arrived, Greg explained. Oh no, said Paul. Just wait. It gets worse, Greg continued. Do you remember how scorching hot it was yesterday? Well, the drinking fountains weren't working, and there were no drinks to buy. My mouth was as dry as a desert, and there was nothing I could do about it. Did you at least get to go on some fun rides? Asked Paul. No, there was a gas leak in Fantasyland, and that caused all of the rides in Adventureland, Fantasyland, and Frontierland to be closed for the afternoon. So we decided to take a ride on the Mark Twain riverboat, but they let too many people get on the boat. The boat ended up falling off its track and sinking into mud because it was too heavy. When it finally got fixed, everyone rushed to the exit and the boat tipped into the water. We had to wade through the water to get back on dry land. Will you ever go back? Asked Paul. Definitely, said Greg. Once they get all the kinks worked out, I think it will be a great place to visit. So, fiction or nonfiction? And then author's purpose. What was the author's purpose? A, entertain readers with a story about a boy who had a fun day at Disneyland on the day it opened. To entertain readers with a story that included historical facts about what happened on the day Disneyland opened. To persuade readers to ask their parents to take them to Disneyland, or to persuade readers not to visit Disneyland. This one's a little tricky. It does have historical facts. You all may not know the history of Disneyland, but all of those things happened. But instead of presenting it in a super factual form, they did it through entertainment. So the answer to that one's going to be B. What caused the riverboat to fall off its tracks? Gas leak. The person operating the ride pushed the wrong button. There wasn't enough water in the lake, or too many people boarded the boat at once. Which event did not happen? Because there's lots of bad things that happened. You're going to pick the one that did not happen. The drinking fountains were broken. There was a gas leak that shut down many rides. Thousands of uninvited people entered the park. The bathrooms were broken. So pick the one thing that we didn't hear about in the story. Genre from here, I'm going to tell you that it's historical fiction because it is historical because some of those events did occur, but did this exact story happen with these exact characters? That we don't know. So it sounds a little like realistic fiction, but the fact that some of the events in the story are historical and you can prove that they occurred, you're going to go with historical fiction. Vocabulary. If your mouth is as dry as a desert, they are comparing using the word as, dry as a desert. Okay, and when you hear that comparison, use their like or as, you know that it's a simile. And then what does counterfeit mean? Those we're talking about those tickets that were not real. Something made to look like a real thing for the purpose of deception. An amusement park ride that is temporarily broken. A small area filled with a crowd of tense people. Or a meal ticket that you can buy in advance prior to entering the amusement park.